Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. I think we could use a little bit of optimism in the face of what's going on here, to the impending litigation between the SEC and Ripple. Look, I'm a realist, so I always want to acknowledge all the negative, not just the good news that's happening in the space, but I also, by nature, happen to be an optimist. And so I'm not just going to blindly pretend like things are always perfectly okay. But that doesn't mean that we're screwed. It doesn't mean that the future is no longer going to exist here. We're still in a bull market for the entire crypto asset class. I still firmly believe that even today, XRP in a general sense will continue to follow the price action of Bitcoin. Now, obviously, with the news that came out, XRP price dropped explicitly because of that. Without that, I don't know how high XRP price would be right now, but undoubtedly much higher than it is today. But so I got it. Makes sense. XRP became a much riskier hold as a result of that, at least in the interim. I acknowledge that. But, the people that want it out, they're out. And so as far as this moving forward, I suspect it will be the case. Just let time pass. Outside of any earth-shattering news that we additionally could not have foreseen, outside of something like that, I personally believe that XRP will be following the price action of Bitcoin. And there are plenty of people that will jump in, even being aware of the news, what's going on with the SEC, and be betting that the SEC is wrong. There will be people doing that, I believe. I'm counting on that myself. I'm an XRP holder, and that's my largest holding, and I haven't reduced any of my holdings in XRP. I've decided that I'm going to stay the course, period. I also don't disparage anyone that reduced their XRP holdings or got out, because I firmly agree. Like, first of all, investing in the crypto asset class, very risky. Investing in XRP, very risky. And it got even more risky because of all of this. But my conviction is strong. It's not changing. And I love crypto in general. Yeah, XRP is my favorite, certainly, for so many reasons I've been articulating on this channel for over 2 years now. But for the space as a whole. And so I want to highlight some of that too, because the future's bright, and I'm going to continue to diversify further as far as my personal XRP holdings. I've mentioned that a little in a few videos here and there over the last couple of days or so, and I'll be talking about that more, but I'm not going to do that at the expense of my XRP holdings. My XRP is sitting there, and like I have said many times, either XRP, I believe, will be worth substantially more in the future, or I'm riding this bitch to zero, which is not what I think is going to happen, but I say that to illustrate the idea that I am firm in my position on this. I believe in the long-term viability, and I believe that Ripple's on the right side of history, period. Now, to be clear, I don't have a financial background of any kind, and so you definitely shouldn't buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. Definitely not financial advice. But still, I'm happy to share my everyday Joe Schmo opinion. I'm just an enthusiast. Like, I'm no different than you. Like, there's no special background here. I just like following this stuff, talking about it, and running this YouTube channel as a hobby. But I just want to make sure nobody thinks I'm someone or something that I'm not, which is why I mention this in literally every video. So I'm sorry if it's annoying, but it's the right thing to do here. So, but look, again, I am genuinely optimistic for the future here. And so look at this headline from the Daily Hodl. This is part of a narrative that I've been noticing. Well, I've been noticing a trend, and so I'm making it a narrative on my channel that this is what I keep seeing happen. It's the genuine adoption of the crypto asset class, with Bitcoin leading the charge, which is fine by me because I'm not a maximalist of any coin. I never will be. But here's the headline. Michael Saylor says he's bought $2.5 billion in Bitcoin through MicroStrategy and other entities. After launching an unprecedented public Bitcoin buying spree, MicroStrategy founder and CEO Michael Saylor is revealing just how much Bitcoin he's amassed. In a new interview on the Funky Crypto podcast, Saylor says he has bought tens of thousands of Bitcoin through various organizations he is affiliated with. And by the way, I want to mention this, he thinks Bitcoin is ridiculously cheap right now. Mind you, it's basically hovering around an all-time high, but I think he gets the bigger picture, and I tend to agree with him, which is that, look, maybe it is the case that Bitcoin truly will have staying power, even though it's not the most technologically advanced, but purely because it was the first. And humans value standards. When something becomes a standard, it's hard to supplant it. So if this is the go-to crypto for now, perhaps it'll end up being the case that it will have long-term staying power, despite what I would call reasonable critiques that I and others have against Bitcoin. But I'm still a Bitcoin holder myself. I'll critique XRP, I'll critique Ripple, I'll critique Bitcoin, because I just want to come at it from the perspective of a realist and not just endless hype or this or that. I don't, I don't like people that are ideologically driven or tribal when it comes to crypto asset class. It's like, holy hell, if there's a cryptocurrency that's solving a problem, can't we just rally around them? So it's like when I entered the crypto space in 2017, I felt like immediately I was like, oh wow, I'm part of like a community that's this crypto community, and they found something before the rest of the planet. And then I decided that I was impressed with XRP in addition to Bitcoin, and I found out that that made me the enemy of Bitcoin holders. Not all of them, but you get the the Bitcoin maxi type, and I was like, here you go. There's the tribalism. That's exactly why I wanted to jump into crypto here. But it still is early days here. And so here's a quote. I have bought either through MicroStrategy or through entities I control 88,000 Bitcoin. I never sold one Satoshi. And so he's the epitome of long. And I am as well. I'm not interested in selling specifically my XRP until it's worth substantially more than it is today. Even then, I'll never sell all of it. I'll be long XRP, even if I change my my risk exposure to it by selling some of it as it goes up in price, which I suspect will happen. There's no guarantee. I'll keep acknowledging that. And then for Bitcoin, I mean, I might just never sell it, honestly. Let's just see where it goes. Like, it's one of those things where it's good to have it and have an increasing net worth just in case things go horribly wrong in life, and then you can kind of fall back on something but outside of something like that, I'm hoping it'll just keep appreciating, and then I won't have to, ever touch it, but we'll see. Anyway, at its current price of roughly $29,000, Saylor's Bitcoin stash is worth over $2.5 billion. In the interview, Saylor advocates for a long-term holding strategy when asked whether Bitcoin investors should take some profits now as the cryptocurrency keeps hitting new record highs. And here's a quote. I think the way you use Bitcoin is as a long-term savings account. So, if you want to have a portion of your money that you like to gamble with and speculate with and bet on things you are passionate about, take that part of your money and invest it in new ventures or invest it in cool things. Take another portion of your money that you want to save for the next 20 years or 30 years and put that in Bitcoin. Just leave it there and don't get caught up in all the back and forth. How are you going to feel if you sell it at $27,000 and then you wake up one morning and it goes to $82,000? When it goes to $167,000? When it goes to $1 million? When it goes to $1 million, are you going to be bragging that you bought it at $0.019 million and you sold it at $0.022 million? Aren't you going to feel freaking stupid? Like, I bought it at $0.019 million and I sold it at a 50% gain at $0.023 million and I lost $1 million. Exactly. So this is, I share the sentiment in terms of not getting caught up in the volatility. I know that that's what most people are going to want to do. The people that are emotionally buying, panic selling, all that. They're the people that make all of this possible, which is why I jokingly call them useful idiots, basically. And so I don't want to participate in that, me personally. And so as far as Bitcoin specifically, yeah, I'm going to probably treat that a little bit different than XRP. I think that it can have a tremendous multiplier effect potentially in terms of gains, but there's already so much money in it that it's probably looking at a longer time horizon. But I do have like a very long-term mindset, so I don't mind that. So for me, yeah, holding it for a couple more decades or longer or forever, yeah, that's fine. It's just to have, like he stated, like kind of like as a savings account, effectively, because it's better that than United States dollars, which are being debased and losing purchasing power. And that I have no freaking interest in. So I just wanted to share with you, like the way that he's looking at it. It's a general approach that I happen to agree with. Saylor also says he believes the volatility experienced during Bitcoin's first decade is likely to be repeated going forward. In the first decade, Bitcoin was dominated by a bunch of traders with leverage in offshore exchanges, and they were speculators. There was one group of people. This year after March, you've got insurance companies, corporations, treasuries, institutional investors. They are buying this stuff instead of gold. They are buying it to hold it for a decade as an inflation hedge. They are not using leverage. They are not using offshore exchanges. They are not speculators. Their mindset is, I'm going to hold it for 10 years. What can I buy that's better? If I sell it, I'm going to generate a tax bill and going to buy something inferior. So they are not going to sell it, and that means you are not going to see that kind of volatility. The volatility of Bitcoin is decreasing since March, and the volatility of everything else is increasing. Bitcoin is moving from its first 10 years to its next 10 years, and it's a much more mature asset. And so I generally agree with what he has to say. Or in terms of volatility, it remains to be seen because, look, if institutions, look, this is an institutionally driven bull run. I think most people would agree on that. But if you get a tremendous multiplier effect, let's not rule out tremendous volatility for Bitcoin. I mean, really, compared to any other market, it's going to be volatile, period. So it's like when we talk about it being not that volatile, compared to anything else, it's extremely volatile. Even if it's reducing volatility, that's just the direction that it's going here. And so what I wanted to share with you in this video is, despite we as XRP holders going through some tough times right now, admittedly, there is opportunity for the future. And if you, I like this is not financial advice, but my general opinion is that if you have a truly long-term outlook, you can still end up doing well investing within the crypto asset class. So do what you want to do. If you want to buy or sell, not participate, it's fine by me. It doesn't make a difference to me. But I find all this fascinating, and this is a once in a species event. People keep saying this is a once in a generation, this type of wealth accumulation and wealth transfer. And I say no. I say this is a once in a species thing. The genie's out the bottle right here, and we happen to have been born during the time period where we can, if we so choose, take advantage of this. And there's certainly risk involved. Like I will always acknowledge that there's tremendous risk in this asset class, much more notably than anything else. But I personally have strong conviction in what I'm doing. So for me, it's perfectly okay. And I'd feel much more scared in a general sense, for lack of a better term, if I didn't have this risk exposure. That would make me feel substantially worse. Knowing what I've learned over the last 3 years, if I just suddenly couldn't hold cryptocurrency, I'd feel way worse, because I believe this asset class is going to outperform any other asset class over the next decade. So I'll tell you what, man, do whatever you want, my friends, but I will be here. I don't care if it's good times or bad. I mean, I care, but regardless of whether it's good times or bad times, I'm going to be here. And hopefully, even though I have no interest and I'm never going to offer financial advice, at least hopefully I'm going to try to explain why I feel optimistic, and hopefully maybe help to remove a little bit of the scariness of all of this. Because you don't want to use emotion when you're making important investment decisions. You want to make well-informed, logical decisions. And I'm not going to help you with that part of it. But in terms of maybe trying to stay a little even keel, just remove the emotion from it. I think I'm reasonably good at that. I'm a human, so I can feel scared at times. I'm not going to pretend like I'm purely a robot. What doesn't scare me, though, in terms of volatility for price, XRP or any crypto, doesn't matter. What doesn't scare me is general price volatility. Just markets doing what markets do. That doesn't scare me in the least. I've been on some wild rides with XRP price action over the last few years. What does bother me is the litigation. But even though I'll acknowledge that's a little bit scary because it has more so to do with the long-term viability of XRP, even that doesn't change my conviction, and I firmly believe Ripple's in the right. And so even if I find something scary, I don't let that, and this is me personally, I don't let that dictate whether or not I buy or sell. For those of you people that got alarmed, again, like I keep saying, I'm glad you did the thing that was right for you. If you sold or reduced your exposure, I would never disparage anyone for doing that. I encourage you to do whatever you think is right, certainly. And so I'm emotionally bulletproof when it comes to the general moving. But outside of news that sounds it's like super doomsday, yeah, fine, I respond to that a little bit. But even when I do, again, I'm taking the emotion out of my decision-making process. I refuse to buy or sell if I'm feeling strongly about something just because news hits me. I'm not going to freaking do that. And outside of that, I just understand crypto's crypto. People are going to be getting silly with their money, FOMO in, panic sell, all of that. But in the end, look, life is going to go on. There will be blue skies in the future. The world keeps on turning, all that jazz. So I'm long-term very optimistic for this space, and I still am very long-term optimistic for XRP. I think that Ripple will be vindicated, even if they end up paying a fine to the SEC. Whatever you have to work out, hopefully there's a settlement. I don't know what it'll look like, but this is the way that I'm thinking. And so whatever you've decided to do, I sympathize if you're not enjoying going through these scary times. Let's just acknowledge it for what it is. It's a scary time, but again, it's not going to be the end of the world no matter what. And yeah, it would suck if we all lost our our investment in XRP. But I personally do not believe that XRP is just going to go the way of the dodo, my favorite extinct avian creature. I do not think that makes a lick of sense for so many reasons, which I will continue to articulate on this channel with a silly name, Moon Lambo. What the hell that is. I'll wrap up there, though. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Lambo.